Imagine two of the most terrifying villains, Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees. One attacks in dreams, the other in reality. But what happens if they meet? Who will prove stronger? The maniac from nightmares or the machete-wielding criminal? You are about to find out. Freddy Krueger recounts how he was once the most notorious villain in Springwood. Children were constantly disappearing on Elm Street, and fear and horror reigned in the city. However, the parents of these unfortunate children managed to track down the criminal and exact their revenge. Freddy Krueger ended up in hell. There, he learned to invade children's dreams and twist them into the most gruesome nightmares. The villain fed on childhood fear and grew stronger. But gradually, Freddy Krueger transformed from a monster into an ordinary urban legend. Children learned to fight him even in their dreams. The villain began to be forgotten. Then, Freddy Krueger devised a cunning plan. He found another villain in hell, Jason Voorhees, and resurrected him. That same evening, the criminal attacks one of the residents of Springwood. The woman tries to escape him, but Jason catches up to her and attacks. The ghost of his mother appears to him and commands her son to go to Elm Street, as many disobedient children live there. As you realize, this is not actually Jason's mother, but the devious Freddy Krueger. A thunderstorm begins on Elm Street. Three friends, Lori, Kia, are relaxing and gossiping. Gib wants to go for a beer, opens the door and sees two guys standing before her. It's Trey and Blake. They are behaving quite arrogantly. Lori, the hostess of the house, is not at all happy with the unwelcome guests. Only Gib looks pleased because Trey is her new boyfriend. Blake tries to flirt with Lori, but the girl doesn't like him at all. The lights in the house begin to flicker. Trey and Gib go into the bedroom, while Blake goes for a beer. In the kitchen, he notices the door to the street is open. Gib takes a shower, while Trey grabs another can of beer. He sees Jason in his mask but doesn't even have time to scream. When Gib comes out of the shower, a very gruesome scene awaits her. All our heroes run out onto the street in terror and spot a police car on the road. The sheriff and his deputies immediately search the house. One of them decides that Freddy Krueger did this, but the others forbid him from speaking that name aloud. You cannot remember this villain. Otherwise, he will return to childhood nightmares again. Lieutenant Stubbs speaks with Lori. The girl says she heard the name Freddy, but who is he? Lori wanders through the police station and notices some tracks on the floor. They lead her to a wall covered with photos of missing children. Lori goes further and sees a girl sitting on the floor crying. She looks like a monster and says that Freddy Krueger is returning, and Lori is obligated to tell everyone about it. The girl walks out onto the street and sees girls in white dresses playing jump rope. But they are not alone here. Lori wakes up in the police station. It was just her nightmare. Meanwhile, Blake's father scolds him for going out with friends instead of watching his sister. The guy notices a goat near his house, and the ghost of Freddy Krueger appears on the road. But the monster is not yet strong enough and cannot harm anyone. Soon, Jason attacks Blake and his father. We learn that everyone who sees Freddy Krueger in their dreams is forcibly placed in the Westin Hills Psychiatric Hospital. They take a drug to suppress dreams called hypnosol. A guy named Will sees a report on TV about the crime on Elm Street and gets very nervous. The thing is, he knows Lori well. Will tells his comrade Mark that he is worried about this girl. There are many violent patients in this psychiatric clinic. Mark pretends to be one of them, and while the orderlies are calming him down, he steals a pass from them. Thanks to this, he and Will manage to escape. Lori returns home and talks with her father. They live together and love each other very much. The girl is so tired that she nearly falls asleep, and she begins to hallucinate. Lori decides she must not sleep right now and goes to school. The police appear at her house. The sheriff informs Lori's father that Will and Mark escaped from the psychiatric hospital. He asks to keep this information secret. Lori learns that an unknown criminal attacked Blake and his father that night. The police claim that Blake first attacked the three and then his own father. But that isn't true. The school nerd Charlie tries to ask Lori out on a date, but she turns him down. The girls are invited to another party. Lori tells her classmates about her nightmare at the police station. Mark approaches the girl and says he believes her. He knows Freddy Krueger well. The only way to save yourself from him is to not sleep at all. Will arrives with Mark. It turns out he is Laurie's ex-boyfriend. The girl is very happy to see him, but suddenly loses consciousness. Laurie ends up in the hospital. She cannot wake up for a long time. Kia flips through a medical journal. Freddy Krueger attacks her, and the girl immediately wakes up. The police appear at the school, and Mark will have to run again. They try to find information about Freddy Krueger in the city library, but all data about him and his crimes have been erased. The guys realize that the city decided to forget about this monster, so that he wouldn't scare anyone. That same night, the students throw a big party in a cornfield. Laurie and her friends go there, as well as Charlie the nerd. Soon, Will appears at the celebration and approaches Laurie. He confesses that he was forcibly held in a psychiatric hospital for a long time. Gib wanders through a cornfield. The ghost of Trey appears before her and calls her to him. The girl runs after him, and soon Freddy Krueger attacks her. It turns out Gib had gotten drunk and fallen asleep in the middle of the cornfield. Now she is dreaming of a terrifying monster. In the dream, Gib runs from him and tries to save herself, but Freddy gets closer and closer. The girl hides from the monster, but he finds and torments her. At that moment, in the real world, Jason attacks Gib. Freddy is furious as he was left without his prey. Jason finds 2 more teenagers. One of them manages to set the villain on fire, but this doesn't stop him. So the guy has to run. The teenager races through the cornfield and reaches the kids at the party, but Jason's machete catches up with him. Soon, the villain himself appears. Panic breaks out among the students. Jason swings his machete, leaving no one a chance for survival. Will, Laurie, and Kia flee the party along with a nerd named Charlie and a long-haired guy named Bill. Laurie drives everyone home and talks to Will. The guy confesses that he ended up in a psychiatric hospital because he personally saw Laurie's father attack her mother. At that moment, Laurie's father appears near the car. He drags his daughter out of the vehicle and threatens to send Will back to the hospital. A fight breaks out between the men. Laurie runs into the house and demands her father show her mother's death certificate. She also realizes that it was her dad who sent her beloved to the hospital and hid this from his daughter. Laurie locks herself in her room and escapes the house through an open window. The girl finds Will, and together they head to Mark. Meanwhile, Mark himself falls into one of Freddy Krueger's nightmares. He begins having terrifying visions. Mark screams that it is only a dream and begs to be woken up, but no one is nearby. When Will and Laurie arrive at Mark's, they see that it is already too late. Freddy Krueger has become strong again and capable of committing crimes in dreams. Lieutenant Stubbs is certain that a maniac imitating Jason Voorhees is operating in the city. The sheriff scolds Stubbs and asks him not to interfere in the investigation. Laurie, Will, Kia, Charlie, and Bill meet and argue about what to do next. Some fear Freddy Krueger more, while others fear Jason Voorhees. Stubbs joins the teenagers. He wants to help Laurie and her friends. The man says that Jason Voorhees shouldn't be among the living yet. For some reason, he has returned. Will is very smart, so he quickly realizes that Freddy Krueger resurrected Jason because he himself is still too weak to hunt people. Laurie falls asleep on the couch and enters a Freddy Krueger nightmare. Her friends inexplicably decide to tie her up. Both her father and Freddy appear in her dream. Fortunately, Will wakes her up in time. The girl accidentally brings a piece of her dream into reality. Will says that Mark never dreamt of anything because he was taking the drug Hypnosil. Our heroes secretly break into the Westin Hills Psychiatric Hospital to get more of these pills. A security guard notices intruders in the building, but Jason Voorhees quickly disposes of him. Will shows Laurie patients who still have nightmares. They are in deep comas following large doses of Hypnosil. Bill gets nervous and takes too many illicit substances. He begins having funny hallucinations. The guy doesn't realize he is being manipulated by Freddy Krueger. Ghosts from his nightmare ask Bill to flush all the Hypnosil supplies. The guy resists, and Freddy Krueger possesses his body. Bill throws the pills away after all. Meanwhile, Jason attacks Stubbs and Charlie. The maniac disposes of Stubbs using electric current, then chases Laurie, Will, and Kia. Freddy, in Bill's body, decides to fight Jason. He injects him with a massive dose of sleeping medication, but Jason manages to use his machete. Afterward, the maniac falls to the floor. Freddy Krueger enters Jason's dream in the form of his mother and scolds him for his bad behavior. He was supposed to only scare the residents of Elm Street, not stage an endless series of crimes. Freddy wants to get rid of Jason. At first, the villain easily handles his nightmare. But in the dream world, Freddy is much stronger than Jason and can torture him endlessly. However, there is one problem. Jason is almost immortal. Only water scares him. Because water was once the cause of his death, our heroes decide to pull Freddy from the dream world into reality and force him to fight Jason. To do this, they transport the sleeping maniac to his home at Crystal Lake. Freddy continues to torture Jason in the dream world. He knows this man is terrified of drowning, so he uses a lot of water in his nightmares. Jason returns to his terrible childhood again. The maniac sees many terrifying images from his past. Laurie goes to sleep to pull Freddy into the real world and save Jason. She asks Will to wake her up in 15 minutes. The girl immediately falls into a very strange dream. She is at Crystal Lake and sees a group of kids mocking their bald peer and calling him a freak. Soon, Freddy Krueger appears there as well. The children throw the bald boy into the water. It is Jason. Laurie tries to save him, but Freddy Krueger prevents her. In real life, Jason also starts choking. Kia is forced to remove his mask and give him CPR. Jason wakes up. Everyone panics, and the car flips over. The maniac disappears from the dream world. Freddy Krueger is furious and begins to torment Laurie. The guys cannot wake her and carry her in their arms to the camp at Crystal Lake. Laurie is transported to a new nightmare. She ends up in her house and learns that it was Freddy Krueger who once attacked her mother. The maniac tortures the girl. Her wounds appear in real life too. Will tries to wake her, but nothing works. Suddenly, Jason attacks the teenagers and throws them in all directions. Charlie and Kia are seriously wounded. Will drags Laurie and her hand accidentally falls into the fire. Because of this, the girl wakes up, but not alone. She brings Freddy Krueger with her. Two villains meet in the real world. A furious battle begins, in which there can be only one winner. Both maniacs use all their superpowers, and it seems they will fight forever. Charlie fails to survive his serious injury. Freddy Krueger notices our heroes. While Will and Laurie run away, Kia distracts Freddy. Alas, Jason soon attacks the girl and leaves her no chance of survival. Freddy and Jason continue their fierce brawl. Freddy leaves Jason fingerless and takes his machete. When Freddy lunges at Jason, Laurie distracts him. Seizing the moment, Jason punches a hole through his enemy's torso. Freddy uses Jason's machete, but loses an arm in the process. Laurie and Will set the pier on fire, causing propane tanks to explode. Freddy and Jason fall into the lake. Laurie and Will think this is the end and embrace. However, Freddy makes his way to them along the pier. Intending to use Jason's machete, the second maniac attacks him. Laurie grabs Jason's blade and takes revenge on Freddy Krueger for her mother and friends. Both villains fall from the pier. It looks like this is definitely the end now. Laurie throws Jason's blade into the water and leaves with Will. The next morning, Jason emerges from the water with his blade and Freddy's head. Well, friends, I hope you found it interesting. If so, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell to always be aware of new releases. And in the comments, write what you think. Your opinion is really important. See you in the next video.